Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today I'll be talking about the Modern Warfare beta a little bit more in depth and giving my final opinions on the entire thing. I held off from doing like a final weekend review over the first weekend because I felt like a little bit more would change in the second weekend than it actually did. They didn't really change a lot more than I actually thought because I don't really know why. I figured that they would do kind of like a sweeping change of the whole thing, and they would have maybe have tried to have implemented a little bit more of our feedback, but then again, a lot of our feedback was based on a lot of major issues with the game. Unlike a lot of the betas in the past, like with World War II and Black Ops 4, our issues with this game are actually significant problems. They're not based on minor problems like, oh, the weapons are super imbalanced in this game or something like that. It's major problems that are going to take time to fix, I think, but it's kind of the reasoning behind that whole thing. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much time in this video. I think the last one was too long. I want to keep this one shorter, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into this. Overall, I think that the gunplay in this game is extremely strong. I think it feels really good. I mean, the gunfights are satisfying, the kills are satisfying, the animations, just like I said in the first video, still pretty smooth. They could be smoother in some places. There are spots in the game where it just looks clunky, especially getting out of vehicles in ground war. Sometimes when you're getting off of an ATV or something like that, you'll get spun around and you'll be looking at the completely wrong direction from where you should be looking. Spots like this could definitely get a little bit of work, get a little bit of love, and if they do, I think that would totally benefit the game a lot because, when you're getting out of these spots, a lot of tense gunfights and stuff going on around you, you don't want to be getting off and you're 180 degrees behind where you should be. But I don't think this game is as clunky as it appeared when I first saw gameplay. I mean, looking at the gameplay, when we first saw trailer gameplay and stuff for the gunfight mode, honestly, I was pretty worried. I was actually kind of scared for this game. I was like, oh my god, it looks horrible. But I figured that the game was going to be clunky, it wasn't going to feel very good, but honestly, I mean, it kind of felt a little clunky, maybe the first two games, but once you kind of get used to it, you kind of figure out your super sprint, you figure out where to use all these different mechanics and stuff, you're pretty well off, and the game kind of, I think, naturally smoothens out in your mind. So the kill streaks are pretty decent when the maps allow for them to be. This is the only problem I have with them. It's nice to actually be rewarded for being better than other people. Seems like that's been kind of missing from Call of Duty for a long time. In recent games, it seems like they wanted to punish better players by making the streaks weaker, but the streaks are pretty good at this point. I mean, I run the personal radar, either the cruise missile or the precision airstrike and the VTOL. They're pretty decent. I mean, the personal radar, not really a kill streak, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't really get you kills, but it gets you kills, if you know what I'm saying. So I like the precision airstrike because if there's a group of people sitting in an area or something, you can just kind of drop that right on there. They just come through, blast them up. You don't have to really stop in place like the cruise missile, but with the cruise missile, you get a little bit more control over what's going on. The VTOL just shreds if people are outside, especially. That's what I really like about that thing. In the outside dominant maps, this thing is going to wreck people. You got things like the game-ending nuke coming back. That's a definite bonus. Yeah, but like I said, the only problem, some of the map design just does not allow kill streak play. And this is one of the kind of negatives of the game. You literally can't get kills with some of the airstreaks because, like in Azir Cave, people just go in the cave and camp when anything comes in. And a lot of maps would put a hole in the top of the cave or something, but this has nothing for you to do any of that with. Now, there's ground war in Modern Warfare. This is definitely my favorite mode so far. The 32v32 mode is a lot of fun. It gets really hectic at times, especially near the middle of the map, and then at other times, unfortunately, you get everyone just lining up on the ridge to snipe or sit in the tanks. But depending on what kind of match, I mean, it can really get fun, honestly. Yeah, it's kind of weird to see Call of Duty doing what Battlefield does, but honestly, they did it really well, and that's really what I honestly care about because, let's be honest, Call of Duty, they've been kind of doing what everyone else is doing for a few years now. They've been just kind of, taking things here, taking things there. They're trying to compete, and as a Battlefield fan as well, the last two Battlefields, they haven't really been all that great. I mean, Battlefield 1, I think, was pretty good, but it wasn't great, you know what I'm saying? I think Battlefield 4 was actually the last really good Battlefield game, so I was thoroughly surprised with this mode, and I'm actually pretty happy that they added it to the game. I enjoyed it. I mean, I think it's definitely the best pub mode right now. I also really enjoyed that NVG mode, the night vision mode. I think it adds a really cool concept into the game. I didn't play the realism mode. That was one I missed out on, where it takes off the HUD and stuff, adding a realistic environment, quote unquote, to the game. But some of these little modes, they're pretty cool. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of them in this game. They have a lot of different routes that they can take, and honestly, I think the more the better. Honestly, as long as they can provide quality little game modes that people can enjoy and there's a player count for them. Now here's the good elements of map design, because not the entirety of the map design is good, but I do like certain elements of it. Now I like the fact that these maps aren't just, simple inner generic 3-lane map named number 547 here, that we've just been getting for a while. They make you think a little bit. You can't just run out in the street where there's 20 different places to get shot from and think you're going to survive. You gotta be a little bit quicker on your feet. You gotta actually watch more than 2 spots on the map. Personally, I'm fine with that. I've played other first-person shooters except for Call of Duty in my life. I'm a little bit more acclimated to things like this. I know a lot of the Call of Duty fan base is actually pretty upset about this. There's kind of like a debate going on in the COD community, but personally, I don't see a big deal with all of the different watch spots and whatnot. I think there's not really a problem with that. I think that this actually helps differentiate good players from bad players. Like, if you can't watch more than like 3 or 4 different places, and you have to be able to run out into the open streets for 35 seconds and not get shot to be good at the game, you're probably really not that great at the game in the first place. But at the same time, there's other areas of the map design that's just impossible to ignore. Like, you'll be getting ready to enter a building or like another room or something, and the view inside is just pitch black, and you can't see anything. And this is in modes where there's like no night vision goggles or anything to view your aid, or aid your view. I got that backwards. There's nothing to help you going into this room, so you'll be going into this environment with nothing. And someone's just sitting in the corner waiting for you, or you'll be going to go around a turn, and there's a little weird notched in corner. It's impossible to account for. It's also pitch black, basically, and someone will just sit there and wait. You know what I'm saying? Like, the map design itself, I don't think is complete and utterly garbage. I think it has the potential to work. I like the realistic environments that they actually tried to step forward with. But when you combine it with the fact that a lot of the areas are just too dark, the beta, for whatever reason, did not have the features to transform kill streaks to score streaks, like the actual game is supposed to have, which makes camping super encouraged, and all the other elements of it, I just think that camping and whatnot just got encouraged, and I think all these elements just threw the map design under the bus. The only map I think really does suck is actually just Azir Cave. That map, it's just horrible from the ground up. I mean, it's just bad. I'm hoping the talks of there being a good mix of maps in the game, from like some of the 3-lane, more traditional COD maps to the more tactical maps, I hope that's true, because I want to play all kinds of maps. I don't want to just play, these realistic environments all the time either. I want to be able to play some traditional Call of Duty maps too. I don't want this game to just all be an entire step out the door, you know what I'm saying? In reality, I'd also like to see some remastered maps come back. I'd like to see some, terminals, some favelas. I'd like to see some of those kind of maps, some high-rises. Those, I think, would be some good additions to the game. I think that the map design has its goods and, of course, has its bads. I'll talk, of course, more about this as time goes on, but I like the weapon selection in this game. My favorite guns were the M4, the M13, the MP5. I like the Odin. The AK-47, the FAMAS, I was trying to remember that. I think it's called like the FR-556 or whatever in this game. The MP7 was pretty decent, but I think the overall best gun was probably the MP5. The gun for an SMG definitely has really decent range. I think I used the M4 the most in total, but yeah, that's probably my favorite gun is the MP5. I mean, you can just run and gun with that gun the most. These guns definitely stand out, but at least in this game, like, there's a widened selection of guns for you to choose from. Like, in some Call of Duty games, like, it feels like you can only use, like, 1 or 2 different guns. In Modern Warfare, you can use like at least 4 or 5 so far and be really good, and we haven't even seen the full game yet. The game overall was much more enjoyable the second weekend. The camping got better in my personal experience. I don't know if maybe I was facing up against players in matchmaking who were just less prone to camping or what the deal was, but for me, the game was a lot less campy than it was in the first weekend. Like, it was horrible the first week, but it got better. Also on PC, the community does not camp as much as they do on console. I honestly think PC this year was a better experience than console was. The first week, I obviously just played on PlayStation, but on the second week, I played a mix of both of them. I definitely enjoyed PC more. And the game is pretty well optimized for PC as well. I mean, I was running the game on my build with an RTX 2080 and an AMD Ryzen 7. I ran everything in 1440p in higher ultra at 120 frames per second or better for pretty much the entire time. I really only had stutters here and there during spawning in with Ground War, but that's really about the furthest it ever went with me personally. I'm still not sure if it was actually my build or if it was just the game itself lagging. I'm pretty sure it was probably my build, but when comparing it to the overall performance of like the base PS4, it's not even close. Like the base PS4 couldn't come close to keeping even a stable frame rate in Ground War regardless. Like it did pretty decent in normal game modes, but my game crashed a few times on the PlayStation, and it only did it once on the first start on PC. But overall, I found that I preferred playing the game on PC. I think I'll probably play it a lot more often than not on PC this year. I did already buy it on PlayStation 4, so I'm not 100% sold on buying the game again. But if I can get this game discounted this year during Christmas time or whatever, or on Black Friday for like $29.99, I think I might pick this game up. Now for the negatives, okay? There of course is negatives. I'm not just going to talk positively about the game. That's not right. So, the spawns are still absolutely atrocious. They did not fix that in the second weekend. It's ridiculous how bad the spawns are. They are bad in pretty much every mode. This is a thing I think that they could have at least gotten better than what it is at its current point by now, before the beta. Personally, I don't have hope that they're going to have this fixed by launch. Honestly, we have a month. They probably have to fix all the other issues. They also have to fix all the spawns for every map and mode in this game. It's going to be an issue that probably carries over, in my opinion. And in my opinion, it's also probably the game's biggest issue. Besides maybe some of the negative connotations of like the map design and the element choices and stuff, this is like one of the major issues of the game. It's ridiculous. Like, it gets so bad that like you'll literally spawn in the sights of people and just die instantly sometimes. It's crazy. Like, it definitely needs a lot of work, if not entirely rebuilt from the ground up. I don't think I've seen a Call of Duty game with spawns this bad. I've played Call of Duty for almost a decade multiplayer at this point, and I've never seen anything like this. But I feel like if this issue gets tackled head on, like this game immediately gets a lot better. Maybe the spawns being fixed automatically can help tackle other issues. Maybe the camping won't be as bad. Maybe if bad players aren't getting spawn camped so much, they won't just back into corners and hide or something. You know, I don't know, maybe. Skill-based matchmaking. Now, reverse boosting is 100% possible in this game. It's been proven by other YouTubers. You can find evidence of that here on YouTube if you don't believe me. However, skill-based matchmaking has sort of become a point of controversy early on because most of us hate it, and most of us are pretty sure it's going to be in the game to some extent. Like, they put things like this in to protect the bad players from being destroyed by the good players, and that not only gives them zero incentive to actually get any better at the game because they face zero challenge playing other horrible players through SBMM all day, but all it really does is turn the public matches for good players into sweatfests where competitive playlists will already exist. I think they said they'll have league play in this game, maybe not at launch though, meaning that at a certain point, when you get good enough at the game, like, it gets so hard to enjoy because you're constantly put up against the most try-hard players possible. It's probably going to be in the game. It probably was already in the beta. It's probably been in the last few Call of Duties at least. I mean, I wish they'd just come out and say already that it was in, and they would just take it out and put in that noob mode crap or whatever from BO2, that whatever it was, where like only people up to level 25 could play, so like the bad kids can have somewhere to play without being demoed and they could have the game be fun again. Now, another issue I think coming up might be that the game could be spread too thin. Honestly, Modern Warfare already in this beta has more weapons and kill streaks than both Black Ops 4 and World War II did at launch, which is an impressive thing, and according to others in the community, they might not be done adding to either of those. The game has the multiplayer mode, the gunfight mode, Ground War, it's got the special ops coming up, I think, campaign, it'll hopefully have survival mode, and on top of that, rumor has it that Battle Royale will be returning with maps and stuff like Rust returning as locations. But the problem is how are they going to release all this post-launch content for all of these things? How are they going to keep up with that schedule? People are going to be heated if we only get a couple regular multiplayer maps the whole year because we keep getting new gunfight maps. I mean, at least some people will because, you know, some people won't be playing that mode. You're going to have communities split in all these modes, mad that their community might not receive enough of the attention that they crave. And if that's the case, and they do get all this crazy DLC, and we get all these new weapons, and a crazy amount of content, historic amounts of DLC, how's Infinity Ward also going to have time to get ready for the next Call of Duty, presumably coming out a year earlier in 2021, due to Treyarch being moved to COD 2020? It's not making much sense. Something's going to have to give here. I'm starting to personally wonder what it is. I mean, I'm having fun in a lot of these modes. I liked Gunfight, I like Ground War, I loved Survival in Modern Warfare 3, I want it to come back. I mean, I'm hyped for Special Ops, I hope that they improve upon multiplayer, because I want it to be better than what it is. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great, you know what I'm saying? So, I'll be personally okay, but some people won't, especially Infinity Ward from what it sounds. I think maybe they could be biting off more than they can chew. And then another big one. I mean, what's going to be the microtransaction situation going forward into this game? This is less about the beta and more about the future of this game. Everything else at this point has been more or less just observations based on the beta. This is just more observations based on common sense. And I've been wondering for some time now, and I've been quiet on it because I don't want to just piss on the game's parade, because the game as a game shouldn't be destroyed just yet by the microtransactions, even though they'll probably be just as bad, maybe even worse than Black Ops 4. But what are we gonna see? Like, I'm afraid of this. Modern Warfare? I mean, Activision sees green, folks. That's not good. Have you played 2K20? You know what green means if you've played any NBA 2K game. Don't play 2K20, by the way, it's horrible. I haven't even played it, but don't play it. You know, if you've played a 2K game and you see green, that's buckets, and they see buckets of money. Don't. They're about to tactical nuke us into the bank. You ready to buy some COD points? They're about to be hitting the whoa into a nice Juggernaut outfit. Got your tactical nuke, you know, playing dubstep music and shooting rainbows out of it and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. But from common sense, I know that going down with, you know, free DLC packs and no season pass just means Activision's got more of an excuse to shovel in the COD point cock, guys. I mean, let's be real. It's coming, folks. It's coming somewhere. I mean, the game isn't bad from what we played of this beta, but it's not great. You know what I'm saying? It's a step up from Black Ops 4, World War II, and Infinite Warfare. I mean, the game is probably going to be bringing content. How the content will come is to be seen. That's what I'm really worried about, honestly. The game does a lot of things really well in it. It does other things really bad. What it does well, it does pretty good. Like, it innovates in, well, Call of Duty terms, it innovates a lot of things pretty well. There's a lot of new animations. The engine upgrade, it shows, especially when you compare it to the last few Call of Duty games. The game definitely looks better. It plays better than a lot of the more recent games. Honestly, I had a lot more fun than I did playing Black Ops 4 in the last few months. The negatives of this game, I think, are so far really weighing it down. But thankfully, I think that the negatives are things that Infinity Ward could iron out. I think spawns are things that are easily fixable. I think that spreading yourself too thin on the content is something that's easily fixable. You just gotta figure out a schedule of content that actually works. Are you gonna update, you know, Ground War multiplayer, Spec Ops, and Survival only? I think that that's fine. Personally, I could do without the Battle Royale. Or are we going to have a Ground War? Are we going to have, like, Ground War maps, multiplayer maps, Spec Ops maps, and, I don't know, like, Battle Royale updates? Who knows? Like, I think a lot of these negatives are things that can be fixed. Add some more lighting in some of the map areas. Change some of the fundamental map design elements to make it a little less campy. Rework some of the other elements and introduce things that help players move around the map a little bit more. I think things like that actually could make this game really good. Modern Warfare 2 good? I don't know. Modern Warfare 3 good? Maybe. But I definitely think this game has a lot of potential. It's definitely not a bad game. I didn't play this game and go, oh my god, this is the worst Call of Duty I've ever played. This is Infinite Warfare bad. It's definitely a harder Call of Duty game than a lot of other Call of Duty games. I will say that. That might be a negative to a lot of people, but to other people that's a positive. To me, I don't really care. That's something I can kind of get acclimated to the more I play it, you know what I'm saying? I guess. That's more or less dependent on how much time you're willing to put into the game. Me personally, I'm not going to put 15 hours a day into Call of Duty most likely, so I'm not going to be a god at this game, I don't assume, but I probably won't be horrible at it, hopefully. I just don't want the game to suck. But I also don't think that right now it is going to suck. I think that it has a good chance. And I think that, well, the way Infinity Ward is treating the community, the way they're treating the feedback of this game, they got a good shot of turning this game into something pretty good. We're about a month away from release of this game now. Well, yeah, actually, this is the 24th, so in a month, tomorrow, this game will officially be released. So now it's time to speculate about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, because whatever happened to that? Like, whatever happened to Modern Warfare 2 Remastered? We need to figure that one out. So, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new, follow me on Twitter, and until my next video, this is Optimus, not playing Modern Warfare anymore for another month, and signing out.